Hello. Welcome back to Goal In International. Jonathan Carvalho, welcome back to our weekly Yap sessions. I got Brandon Pereira here with me. Rui and Mario couldn't make it today. Rui, not sure why. Mario's in Portugal, so that's pretty good for him. Today is actually going to be our last show until the season starts again, because we're going to have a break, same as the rest of the tournament, the rest of the teams.
It's a rest and recovery break.
Right, exactly. We've been working way too hard. We need that R&R. So, thanks for coming. Today's going to be a shorter show because we don't have as many topics to talk about. Things are kind of like dying down half our guests, you know. So me and Brandon will be here for about half an hour, 40 minutes. We'll see how it goes. We're going to talk a bunch of things, Prem preview, the Club World Cup, the World Cup for next year. Brandon, PSG Chelsea. Thoughts on the game? Chelsea, first ever world champions.
Yeah, the champions of the world without being champions of their country.
It's the wildest thing.
But no, I came on here last week and these guys asked me what I thought the score was going to be, and I said 3-0, but
we went the wrong way.
PSG, and it was definitely not PSG. But I think that was as big of a surprise as we've seen in a couple of years.
I think for everybody.
In terms of like how one team was definitely playing and how one team was kind of like scraping through some games in the Club World Cup. They had a really not good schedule.
Right.
Like it was a bunch of teams that they should have beaten. And then you're like, wow, like they're going to play PSG, who just kind of walks on the field and dominates
everybody,
right?
It was real surprising to see PSG like hit such a low in that game. Like I feel like I wasn't watching the same team I've been watching the whole season.
I don't know. It was very strange to see the way Chelsea was just literally at ease in every single goal. Like
right, they never looked like flustered. They never looked like they were harried. That first Cole Palmer goal,
he just the second was
but like that first one, he just slotted it in like there was nobody in front of him.
When you look at like the midfield of PSG and how good they were playing, Cole Palmer in both his goals had 7-8 yards to kind of just. I mean, he had a nice little fake where he had like a little fake shot and took Vitinha out of the way. But the way he finishes is very easy. It was two very good goals, but just so much space. And I don't know if that was PSG getting tired and that was like the end of it. But then you have like, I think Chelsea was very well set up. I think Reece James in the midfield was very different than what PSG has seen.
Worked though.
No, so
I guess they needed that like muscle in midfield.
I think it was, and that's where I was going. I think the physicality of Chelsea and the way they were kind of like going into tackles and not afraid.
Right.
Especially in the first 10 minutes. I was telling a couple people I was talking to, like, Chelsea looks good, man. Like, I wasn't surprised that they were dominating and playing well, and then they deserve to be up 2 goals, and Cole Palmer has a sick assist to João Pedro, and he played awesome too.
João Pedro's been a really good signing for Chelsea so far.
And he's been like getting under everyone's skin, and we saw what happened at the end of the game, and Luis Enrique going.
Personally, I kind of missed soccer having that. You know what I mean? And like I love that.
It's an ugly thing, but it's just like
it's not. I would say it's passion.
It's an ugly thing, but it's a passionate thing, and I think it was great for this tournament where everyone was bashing, especially the Europeans, like, oh, they definitely don't care about this.
Right.
And you looked at like a team that just literally won everything, lose, and the way they lost, and like having that anger towards Chelsea at the end of the game, and the way Chelsea was celebrating, it actually looked like it meant something, and I think that was very important to set the standard for this tournament.
I agree.
And I think the Chelsea coach was saying after the game, like, in a couple of years, people will think of this like as good or more important than the Champions League. And I don't know if it will ever get like that.
It's a bit of a stretch, but I can see where he's coming from, though.
I enjoyed that they both took that game and the tournament itself
super serious,
as well as they did. And Maresca wasn't just the final, like the way he was celebrating goals when they were scoring against Palmeiras, they were scoring against PSG, like.
Well, you could tell people were super invested, and like we were mentioning before, Chelsea just like balanced their books by winning this tournament, signing all these players, you know, and now with this nice little paycheck from FIFA, they don't have to worry about the transfer regulations as much.
We're talking about how they needed to make 65 million, and they just made over 100.
Right. I mean, they fleeced Arsenal for 50.
Well, that's a different.
And now they just won 90 for the whole tournament.
But I think it's for a team like Chelsea, and it's tough to say like, oh wow, like that's impressive because they've spent so much money. But when you look at what Maresca has done in 12 months compared to the 4 previous coaches who also spent billions of
last
dollars.
year, everybody thought Maresca wasn't going to last like 3 months
Correct.
coming from Leicester.
And even the way he started, he started well, and then Chelsea took a little bit dip, and then Cardiff towards the end of the season started playing well again. And then they played really well in the tournament, and then the final they were excellent. But a team like Chelsea that's growing like that and getting a bunch of pieces in there, where it's easy to spend money, but you got to spend the money on the right players.
Correctly, too.
And you look at what João Pedro did, and they bought him 2 weeks ago, and he goes
Still
in.
shouldn't have been allowed to play in this
Should have
tournament.
not been allowed
But
to play
whatever,
in the
that's
tournament.
semantics. That's semantics.
But like I think it's important to go through a moment like they were going with. They have a lot of young players too, but to get those players kind of feeling like they're on a team and getting a consistent lineup, I think is also important for a team like
Right.
Chelsea where it has like 40 players.
But that's part of the issue is
Correct.
because like you never know who's going to play week to week
Well-
because you have 4 players for every position, you know, all relatively around the same level. So at that point, it's like, how do you decide who gels together to play well? Or there's not enough consistency, I think, for Chelsea to be sustainable.
Correct. And I think when you start, like you lose a game and it's like, oh, this guy didn't play well. It's very
Right,
easy
the
to be
doubts
like-
start creeping in.
It's very easy to be like, all right, let's put him on the bench, right? Like we're not gonna.
Right, we have 3 other players that could fill in.
Like Cole Palmer is probably the guy who you look at and be like, he's gonna start every game.
He's arguably the only untouchable in that team.
Correct. Like, I
And
think.
maybe the keeper.
Oh no, he's
Sanchez?
Yeah, but during the year he was getting replaced left and right.
True,
'cause
yeah,
he was
that's
having
true.
Howlers, but I think Pedro Neto started a lot in this tournament, and he's been very good for them.
I think he's grown a lot throughout the tournament too.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out Pedro Neto, hometown hero, Viana do Castelo.
He's a very good player, and he played very well, and I was happy for that. But yeah, Chelsea, that was just as shocking as
Right, I think so too. Maresca definitely did his homework, studying
sure.
that PSG team.
for sure.
And like you were mentioning before, I think Reece James in the midfield was a masterstroke of a move. Because looking at the PSG midfield, they're all kind of like diminutive. You know what I mean? They're all kind of small, except for maybe Fabian Ruiz.
Yeah,
But Vitinha's not the tallest guy. João Pedro, bless his heart, is like 5'5".
But then you look at
Oh, João
like,
Pedro, sorry, João Neves.
But then you look at like Fabian Ruiz is a tall guy, but like he's a
lanky.
typical Spanish
Right.
player who wants to be technical and
Right.
Probably shies
Not
away
enough
from
muscle.
the physicality,
Yeah.
right? And that's all those do.
Like it says a lot if like Vitinha is both your destroyer and your creator.
Yeah, so-
you know, such a slim frame.
And I think when they're throwing Reece James and Caicedo was also excellent.
Right,
Like,
also very
you're
physical
throwing
player.
those 2 guys like at every, and then Enzo, like you have those 3 guys who are just tackling and winning
right.
balls.
You think
and-
it rattled PSG?
I think so. And,
that makes sense.
And the way they ended the game, I think it definitely rattled them. Like they
Yeah,
were,
that's for sure.
they definitely didn't think they were going to lose. I'll tell you that.
Right. I kind of got that air too that PSG walked in, the same as the rest of us, expected PSG to
Yep.
walk in and win, and
Correct.
got a reality check.
And I think it was also very impressive that the way Nuno Mendes played this year, the Maresca like game
Isolated,
plan was
yeah.
like, we're gonna go through your left side and you're gonna deal with it, and that's really it. Like,
And I've never seen Nuno Mendes so like shaky before.
yeah, and it was Cole Palmer and overloading with Gusto and overloading with Caicedo, and everyone was going through the right side. Pedro Neto didn't have to do much except help defend and help run out, but they weren't really attacking Hakimi. They were going through this side, and I think another major point was Pacho didn't play.
Okay.
And Pacho was one of their better defenders, and they had Lucas Beraldo in there who had a terrible game. But when you have Lucas Beraldo and you can't really help out Nuno Mendes, and the midfield is kind of all over the place, that was just
Right.
like
You're left
a
Nuno
recipe
Mendes
for
alone,
disaster.
essentially.
Correct.
Yeah, it's hard
So-
to defend against 3 players running at you.
Yeah,
unless you're
so-
Van Dijk, but sorry, obligatory. I got to throw it in there at least
I
once.
think that was important for Chelsea's success, and it's going to be interesting what they do the season just ended. Next
Well,
season,
for
right?
this upcoming, yeah.
It's just so hard to say because this season starts in a month. So you
It's just crazy because like
the beginning of the season.
Liverpool played their first game of preseason the same day Chelsea played their last game of the last season.
So and it's like PSG just ended their season and they play in a month against
Right.
Spurs for the Super
The
Cup. Right?
Super Cup.
So it was, but it was a great game. I think
I think it was enjoyable.
the crowd was very good. They were very into it.
Probably the most full game we've had so far.
I think it was like 78. They were saying
around.
very weird halftime performance thing on the top of the
Honestly, I
stadium.
totally missed that. I didn't even
Like,
catch
it.
it.
Was a weird thing going on up there, and it was like all over the place. But it's going to be interesting what they do next year with it.
Here?
They want to
the actual World Cup?
Yeah, they want to have, I think, the same thing, like a halftime performance thing.
Okay.
And I
I
think
mean, don't
it's-
they usually for the World Cup though? Like
I think they have a pregame.
Didn't like Shakira do it in
I think it's
2014?
pre-game.
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
which is
that-
kind of like normal for
Yeah,
like an
that makes
event.
sense actually.
But like during the middle of the thing, like I was watching the game, and we were out, me and my girlfriend at a brunch, and like we were watching it, and she's like, the second half hasn't started, and then we looked at it, it was like 24 minutes, like it was a super long halftime.
Americanized.
And it's like,
they got
just
super
like the Super
Americanized.
Bowl,
Yeah.
like it's a super long
So
halftime.
I would definitely bet money on that happening
Next
for the
year.
world
Yeah.
for the actual World Cup next year.
And then there was like a bunch of people out there, like J Balvin and Coldplay, and
Right. Yeah,
it
it's a
was
big
just-
event.
it
And
was
you gotta show up. Like you said, it's like the Super Bowl.
so
now.
I think I would get rid of that and have it before the
Yeah.
game. You know,
I agree
think
with that.
every Euro and World Cup has a pregame final,
yeah.
a pregame opening also.
Right,
like
right.
When they have the first game of season, and first game of tournament. But I think it'll be a lot better than people think it's going to be next year.
I mean, this was a good like trial run for the World Cup next year.
And for me, like people who are still bashing the tournament and the way it was run and the gameplay, you're either your team was in it and stunk, or your team was not in it and
Right.
you wanted them to be in it.
Right, right.
And I think it was kind of like the FOMO of that, because
I could see that.
it's very hard to criticize what happened. And I know people still criticize, like, there was 2 minutes left in the game and the game got stopped because of thunderstorm and all that. That's just like, can't control the weather. You can't do anything about that, right? I get it, it's annoying, like, damn. Like the
Also,
Benfica Chelsea.
But it also sucks too because like that's state laws and every state has its
Correct.
own.
So like the Benfica Chelsea game, there's lightning and thunder. If lightning catches a fan or catches a player, you'll be like, oh, damn, we should have stopped this game, right?
Right.
And then it's like they stop the game and you get upset about it. I get it. There's 2-3 minutes.
You
left,
can't
but
please everybody.
There's nothing you could do about it, right?
Right.
And that's like, if that's your biggest concern, then that's like I think it was
It's a
win
pretty
for
minor
FIFA.
concern. Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
So, I think
I think it's going to go well next year.
and it was a very good teaching tournament for everybody.
For everybody in terms of-
stadium, for FIFA,
Gotcha,
and
okay.
for everything going on. And I think the tournament got better as it went along.
I think so too.
Which is a good sign.
And I feel like more fans started showing up as the tournament went on as well.
And I think that was expected. Once you get like, you water out the teams who are not heavily, like, they don't have too many fans around
Right,
here.
right.
And
Around here, because like
Around here, yeah.
because arguably like some of the smaller teams had way
way more
more.
fans, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you get to the quarterfinals and it's like, it's a one game and that's the rest of your tournament, and you have 2 Brazilian teams playing against each other, or you have like Madrid playing against anybody, you know you're going to get a nice
Right,
crowd,
that's true,
So
yeah.
I think that's expected, and I think that we went crazy about the fans and all these questions we had about this
Atmospheres
tournament.
were fun though.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Like even the games that were half
Yeah.
full, like I had a great time at the Porto Palmeiras game. It was a terrible game overall, but the atmosphere was great. Like, and that's something I never saw. I never saw a Brazilian crowd like that.
Right, right.
Well, not at all, because I've never been to a game in Brazil. I've never had a game here where Brazilians are traveling. So it was an interesting tournament. It was a fun tournament. And again, I think if you didn't enjoy it, or if you're still mad about something, it's either your team was
It's
not
the
in it,
FOMO.
or
Yeah.
and you wanted to see your team in it,
Yeah.
or you're just like, now you're mad that Chelsea is considered a world champion. Like it's
That's
something
also
like that.
true. Yeah, you could just be Spurs fans.
And I
you
think
know?
that's kind of what that is. But
That makes sense.
I think the next one's going to be a hit too, especially if Portugal and Spain.
If anything, I think it's gonna. Oh,
Be
the next
better?
Club World Cup. I
Club
thought you were
World
talking
Cup.
about. Okay.
The next Club World Cup, I think, is going to be awesome. If
I
Portugal
mean, now
and Spain
going to a
accept it.
country that is culturally more inclined for
Correct.
soccer, it's only a plus for the tournament.
Yeah, and I think you have PSG already qualified for winning the Champions League. Cruz Azul
For Mexico?
for Mexico, they just won the CONCACAF Champions
Okay.
League. And I didn't. There was 2 other teams, and I don't remember
The
who
one
it was.
Libertadores was it Palmeiras? No,
It was.
but I'm sure they're on the
They're
plane.
also qualified. They were saying Chelsea should be qualified because they just won this one.
I don't think it should work like that.
I don't think so either.
Because like if you win the World Cup, you don't automatically qualify
Qualified
for
to
the
the
next
next
one.
one, right?
You still have to go through qualification.
So I think you got to win something to get in there. And I think, again, I don't think Chelsea should be in it, but
Yeah,
Well,
unless they
unless
win,
they
unless
win,
they do
right?
well and
Unless they-
qualify
or
through
unless they win the
merit.
Champions League and
Right.
they do something right and they deserve to be there, then that's
Then that's
something.
different, right?
But not through just because he won this tournament.
Yeah, it makes sense. So like, now just I had this thought for the next one. Do you think a team like Sporting, who historically doesn't do as well in Europe compared to like Porto and Benfica, gets into the next tournament because of their dominant spell in the league currently, or
So the qualifier, they would have to be.
is it solely just because how well they do in Europe?
It's a qualifier based on the Champions League.
Okay.
So I think it was 12 teams, if I'm not mistaken. The 12 best Champions League teams in those 4 years that were not winners,
Okay.
because those winners qualify
Right,
already.
right.
And the unfortunate part of like Liverpool, because Liverpool is always good in Europe.
Right.
doesn't qualify because there's 2 teams in Europe,
That-
in England already
that
qualified.
won, right.
So Chelsea won the Champions League City, so Liverpool kind of got
I
screwed
do
out.
think the qualification process needs to be a
Needs to
little bit
change.
more
I could-
because like they say that, but then there's 3 Brazilian teams, there's 3
Correct.
American teams. You
Yeah.
know, like I think they should have that like standard qualification route, and you have to like I get the doing well in Europe is a good indicator for qualification, but how are you gonna like ignore league champions? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
because they didn't do super well in Europe. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
if you're going to go through that route, I think it should be the 4 Champions League winners in that time, and then literally the next best 12.
Right.
And if it's 5 English teams, then too bad, you got to be better next time, right?
It's also a little unfair though, because like,
Well-
in that, because like, Bournemouth makes more money than like Ajax or a team in Italy for winning the league. You know, so like it's a little unfair.
But
because
Ajax will be more times in the Champions League than Bournemouth will.
I mean that's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe that was a bad.
Like you'll always have the same
Well, I meant more so because like
5, 6.
the
English
Prem is so like they have so much money compared to everybody else.
Correct.
Unless you're a Madrid or a PSG or not even Barca anymore. But like unless you're one of those, not even Bayern can spend like that without balancing books. You know.
You'll have you won't have United in the next one.
Right.
I
But
can guarantee you that.
yeah, I think so too. Sorry, Mario. Not sorry.
Not sorry.
One thing that did surprise me about this, I did not expect the trophy to be that huge.
It was massive.
Yeah, I did not expect it to be that big. I thought it was like it's a cool design. I just thought it was gonna be like.
Did you expect the president to be in the trophy?
I also did not expect that. I expected him to do the handoff,
I think
not to stay for the celebration.
That
That's a
video
little.
of him, of Cole Palmer and Reece James just looking at him like, is this guy gonna get off the stage? Is like a super classic moment. Like everyone,
It's gonna get
you'll never
memed
forget
to
that.
death,
Like
yeah.
you'll always be like,
I already saw memes of Trump like looking at the keeper and being like, "You got your papers."
yeah, because his name is Sanchez. I saw that, but just that was side note, but that was
Yeah.
hilarious. But
Super funny.
yeah, I think it was a great tournament.
I think so too.
And people just need to get over it.
This tournament like had that same flavor that the World Cup. Like the World Cup is my favorite tournament because I consider it more of a festival than a tournament.
Correct.
You know, and this gave me that same kind of vibe where it's just a celebration of the sport and like cultures throughout the world who love the sport.
And I think it'll be a lot better in a soccer-driven.
Right,
country.
I agree. A country who actually cares.
So like
Yeah.
you're gonna go Portugal, Spain. I think it's gonna be through
Oh
the
yeah,
roof
I
good.
think every game will be, for
Correct.
the most part, would be
And even like you'll go and you like those little teams, not little, but like I keep saying
Smaller.
little, but like
not less
known-
represented.
yeah, less known teams are gonna be like there'll still be a ton of people in the stadiums. I think because the Portuguese and the Spanish, like if they got to take a half day to go work, they're
They're
gonna,
gonna
watch the
do
game.
yeah, they're gonna do that.
They're gonna go just take.
And
a
then
half
like
day
not to
go-
mention too, like if it's in Portugal and Spain, for example, it's way closer to a lot of these teams, except
Correct.
for maybe the South American teams and
Well,
the
you-
MLS
you look
teams.
at the
but-
Moroccan teams, you got to travel across the water.
Right.
there, right?
Now they
Like,
just got to go a little bit north.
up north, yeah. So I mean,
I think it'll be fun.
I think it's going to be awesome.
I think so, too.
This tournament was great, and I'm so glad it answered a lot of questions, and it was a lot better than everyone thought.
I think it silenced a lot of doubters too.
Correct.
Yeah, me included, because I was very pessimistic about this
And
tournament
I think the
leading
president
up
of
to it.
FIFA said they made like $2 billion
Oh,
in this
I can
tournament.
imagine. Yeah.
So can you imagine?
They were showing ads like while the ball was in play.
That's true,
You
too,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
That's
And
true.
to be, I don't know, this should be me being a pessimist again, but I feel like the Americanization of the sport is going to be kind of the death of the sport at the same time.
Yeah.
As well as as good as the tournament went, but like showing ads while the ball's in play is wild to me as a soccer fan.
that doesn't really
it's
happen
wild
here,
to
right?
me.
So-
Wild. You'd never catch that happening in Europe or Africa or Asia or anywhere else. Just
Nowhere.
here. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine you're sitting at a Portuguese bar and like Benfica is playing against anybody?
Yeah. And they just cut the commercial
And then-
mid game. Forget it. They'll burn down
That's what I'm
that.
saying. Like, you can't even say nothing against. Like, I once went to Porto Paço Ferreira, and outside of the stadium at Paço Ferreira, there's a big bar, and Benfica was playing Guimarães at the time. Like, literally, like
Okay.
2 hours before. So everybody was in the bar watching the Benfica game and just eating, right? And like, there was like 5 Benfica fans in there, and they scored. And like everybody just looked at them like, dude, really? Like there's so many Porto fans in here. But like, can you imagine like that happens and like the game goes to commercial?
Right,
Like,
right,
what's that?
right before a lead up to a goal or
Like,
something,
and
right?
You missed the goal and like, oh wow, it's 1-0.
Yeah, people will lose their minds.
It's gonna
They will lose their minds at
So
that.
that's so. But again, I think they learned a lot of things this tournament, and I'm glad that it went the way it went.
And I feel like they ironed out a lot of like logistical things that they might have had hiccups with throughout this tournament. So hopefully next year it runs way smoother, and like we don't have issues like you had at the Porto game
Yeah.
trying to find your seats. And
So, you know, so I made that video, and like people still comment to it now, almost a month later, and they talk about like that day was horrible, and now people are like, I didn't have that experience at MetLife.
Right.
Mine was a lot better. My tickets got moved down, and I got an email about it. So I think they learned from
Ironed
a
it
lot of
out,
those stuff,
yeah.
like a lot of those
You would
problems that they
hope
had.
so.
I mean, that was the first game at MetLife. I think it was the first game at MetLife. So you know, you always learn from those mistakes, and every game should get better.
Yeah.
Especially early on in tournaments. I think no matter, you could host a tournament every single time, and there'll always be problems in the beginning of the
Yeah,
tournament.
of course.
It's always
That's
new people
normal,
working. It's
right.
always new procedures.
That's
right?
normal.
And I think they figured it out, which is very good for them.
thankfully, yeah. So hopefully next year there's less hiccups. Let's say.
Yeah. The last
know?
thing you want is to buy a ticket, no matter how much it costs. Like, it could be $10, and you're missing 30 minutes of a game that you were dying to see for so long.
Right, especially for like we were saying before, like a lot of these fans, especially ones that live here,
Yeah.
this might be their only opportunity to see their
Correct.
team come play live. When was the last time like Porto came here for friendlies or a
20 years
preseason
ago.
tournament? Exactly, you know, Spartans around the same time. I think it was like 15, 20 years ago.
So it's like,
So I can see it being super frustrating for like a Portista, for
yeah,
example.
there's people who unfortunately can't travel back to their country and see their team play.
Right.
And like, this is the closest you're going to get, and you waited 20 years to do it.
Right.
And you're just like, damn.
When's the last time Al Ali was here?
Yeah, and I
You
just
know?
spent $150, and I'm going to miss half the game because
Yeah.
like the procedure's so
It'd frustrate
bad, and
anybody.
I've been there 3 hours waiting in line.
That's
like,
crazy.
You know,
I'm
so-
glad they fixed that though, and I really hope that's not an issue for next year because there's no excuse at this point. You ironed it out a year in advance, you know. So like, and the World Cup is like, the World Cup is it's like a step above this one because this one still new. You can give
It was like a test. I think it was
Right.
a test run, but not really, right? Like, there's nothing that compares to what's going to be at the World Cup in terms of
Yeah.
the different people that are going to be there, the different
Way more
backgrounds
people.
and languages spoken, everything, right? Like, every game is going to be packed and sold out, and it's just going to be a bigger beast. But you'd think, like, you look at this on a larger scale, and you kind of get it down, right? So you just got to hope that it's going to be good, and then we're going to say it's going to be good, so it gets thrown out there in the air.
Yeah,
that
good
it's gonna-
positive vibes.
right?
Yeah.
But I sent it to you guys. They opened up registration for
I signed up.
FIFA for the World Cup tickets, and you have to go on the FIFA website. You just create a little login,
Sign up, otherwise you ain't gonna get tickets.
and then I think in September they're starting to sell tickets. So
in September.
in September.
Okay.
But if you don't sign up, you don't
But
get a
like,
chance.
so I signed up for it, but that's just for the wait list.
That's just like that's just to create your account. So when it does get open, you have an eligibility to get
Gotcha.
tickets.
Okay,
If you
okay.
don't have an account, you don't have an eligibility to get tickets.
Sign up if you want tickets, guys.
And that's kind of, I don't know, like the way I was thinking about it is, if they're making it go through that route, is FIFA really only going to sell through the FIFA website and like exclusively? It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be hard to get through third party and what's going to happen. So I would just recommend everybody just
Right.
signing up if you have any intentions of going to.
Because scalpers and
Yeah,
everything.
you never know, right?
You never
They're
know.
going to crack down on it.
Yeah, you never know. That's
It's
true.
tough.
So yeah, make sure you guys sign up and get it, because otherwise you ain't gonna see any games.
Yeah, even on the Club World Cup app. So I was sent tickets, and it was the suite tickets. And if you try to screenshot it, it goes black. Like, you can't do that. So
Good.
I think
Security.
it's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of it's going to be straight through the FIFA app. And then,
good.
like I'm saying, I don't know if how easy or accessible third-party tickets are going to be. So just be
Thank you for the link. 'cause
just be on the lookout for
I
that.
appreciate that. And I think we got a couple minutes left. You want to talk some transfers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Not favorite. Let me rephrase that. Who do you think has the strongest window so far? Not just Prem, just in general.
It's tough. I think Liverpool, if they're gonna get a striker, it's gonna complete one of the best transfer windows they've had in a long, long time. They signed a very good backup keeper. I mean, they signed him last year, but he's joining now.
Yes. Marmud. How do you pronounce it? Marmud.
Long-
Marmud. Georgian names.
Georgian,
yeah,
so
these Georgian names.
He's a very good goal. He was on Valencia for a couple of years. They just got Florian Wirtz, who I think fills a very big hole. If they get
Frimpong.
a striker, they're going to get a striker. They got Kirkes, who's going to be probably starting most games, to Robertson, but if not, Robertson can fill him.
I think
just
they're going to
fine,
alternate just
right?
Yeah.
Frimpong to cover Trent, and Frimpong was awesome at Leverkusen. Now you got him there. If Liverpool could stay healthy, that's going to be a very hard team to beat. in the league. But then you got what City did in their transfer
Right.
window
City
before the
just
World Cup.
paycheck
adding,
FC.
adding those 6 players, I think was very good for them, and they're only going to get better. And Nori was awesome signing. Cherky's been a great signing.
Turkey's a baller.
And I think, and Rangers has been awesome too. So
Yeah.
they've gotten better. Arsenal replaced Partey with Zubimendi, and
They desperately
for
need Victor.
some reason signed the backup goalie, but they increased their position in midfield. If they can get and complete that deal with Gyökeres, you're looking at a very complete team too. When you're looking at a full 11, I think they still need a couple of bench players and to fill in some rotation. But they got Madueke now for 60 million. Or
Such a
whatever it is.
scam.
But I think those are three complete teams that are going to be, I think, far and wide above everybody else.
Everybody else.
Everybody else.
Okay.
I think Chelsea is going to have a good season, but I think they're still a little ways away.
Too early
They're
for
going to have
title
some
challenge.
growing pains. But I expect them to be very good.
Top 4 challenge, but not title challenge.
Yeah, I think they'll be in a top 4 race. Spurs, I think, are going to be a lot better than they were last year. They have an excellent coach, signed some great players. And I just think it's going to be very hard to be as bad as you were last year. And
Maybe once you're United.
You know, and it just gets to a point where Spurs, I think, last year kind of gave up on the league. And when you're looking at the Europa League overall and know that's your ticket to the Champions League,
I think they made the right choice.
and they did.
Because you see the league is gone, and no
Correct.
matter where you finish, it
You were
doesn't
never
matter
gonna get to
unless
Europa
you
League.
get relegated. But they were never
never going to get relegated,
Right.
and they were never going to get to Europa League. So what are you playing for?
Exactly. Might as well just go all out for the Europa League, and they did well. They won.
I think they made an excellent choice.
Yeah.
They rested all those
Too
guys.
bad
who
Ange
were-
got fired for it.
Yeah, they rested all those guys. And we also forgot, at the beginning of the season, they had like everybody hurt.
Yeah, they did. They went through a real
They went like
real
everybody
bad
was
injury
hurt.
crisis.
And once they got those guys back and started playing them like smartly and not every single game, and it was rotational, and
I think it was a mix of like the injuries and then like a couple players that kind of lost it. Like Kyungmin's son.
Correct.
Love him as a player. He kind of lost his step
yeah,
though
his
throughout
last
the
year
year.
wasn't too good. But I think like Spurs will be better. Newcastle made some good signings. I think they'll be better. They just can't get a striker. We talked about it. Delap rejected them. Jean Pedro rejected them.
Ekitike,
He's rejecting them
he's
too.
about to reject.
So they wasted 55 in Alonga, which is a ton of money. They're
Came
buying a
from
new keeper.
Forest, correct?
Forest, yeah. So I think they're always pretty good. They have a really good, strong 11. Their defense is really solid. The midfield's really solid. Guimarães there and Joelinton. But
Crazy that Joelinton at one time was the worst striker in the league to
And
being like a solid
center
midfielder.
midfielder, they have to drop him
Solid
back
midfielder.
because he's
Yeah.
just a
Eddie
tank.
Howe, he got that eye for it.
But then you look at teams like United, and
It's gonna be rough.
I think that's going to be. It's going to be it's another rough season for
I
United.
think United is full on entering their banter era. As bad as they've been, I don't think they've entered their banter era yet.
So we were looking at the schedule, and this is United's first 12 games. So home to Arsenal, at Fulham, Burnley, at City, Chelsea, at Brentford, Sunderland, at Liverpool, Brighton, at Forest, at Spurs.
So
that-
rough 12 games.
That lasts you through November, and I don't think Ruben Amorim will last.
I was about to ask you. I was gonna ask if by the end of that run, do you think Amorim is still the coach?
I don't think he makes it through the run.
You're right. I think he gets fired throughout it too.
I think they'll lose to Arsenal. Fulham's a very tough place to play. If they don't beat Burnley, they won't win a game probably until the Sunderland game,
Yeah, I could see that.
which is the middle.
Because every
block.
other game in between is they're solid teams. You know, obviously City and
At City, Chelsea,
Chelsea,
Brentford's a
world
tough place to
champions.
play.
Brentford is really well run.
Sunderland is a promoted team. You don't really know what you're going to get. They've spent a ton of money, by the way. This
They've
transfer.
also had but they've had a terrible decade.
Yeah, they've had.
They almost
I mean,
went into like
they were third division.
Right, they
went
almost
all
went
the way
to
down.
almost to League Two.
Yeah, they were awful. They lost in the playoff a ton of times. But then you got at Liverpool, Brighton, Forest, and Spurs, and then it's just like it looks like it never gets easy for them.
It kind of looks like a death sentence of a run.
And it's like when you look at it, and your signing of the transfer window was Mateus Cunha, who's a good player.
Right,
Is
but
he,
he's not that talisman signing that
Is
you
he an
need.
elite player? I
Right.
don't think so. I think
Right.
he'll help them out. I don't think he's what they need essentially.
I
And
think
then,
so too. I mean, they're struggling to sign in Bueno.
And they've spent a month trying to sign in Buemo, and they didn't want to get to the valuation that Brentford wanted. And I think I just read yesterday that they've put in a bid for
crazy.
what they want now. So,
It's crazy that United is at a point now where they're haggling with Brentford.
and I think like
You know, like
every team knows that, and I think that's what's killing United also.
right. It could be that like teams know that they're desperate now.
So like you want You want a player from the Premier League? Okay, pay 20% more than you're gonna.
Right,
than you
right,
would
right. I mean, Prem players already come with the Prem tax.
Correct.
But like, even more so now for United, knowing the predicament that they're in, and knowing
And it's just
that they
like-
desperately need people to improve, because right now it kind of seems like they're running in circles.
And it's tough. Like you're gonna play the same 15 players, and it's gonna be tough. And I looked at this today, and we looked at the signings that Ten Hag made. He made 13 signings
Over the course of his
over the time
there.
he was there.
Okay.
I'm gonna read you what it was, and it totaled to 616 million. And you're gonna tell me which of these players is a bona fide starter for
Okay.
United,
Let's do it.
and that is a good a
good
player
bo-
that makes a difference.
Okay.
Anthony, Rasmus Højlund,
Okay.
Casemiro,
Okay.
Mason Mount, Lenny Yoro, Lisandro Martinez,
Oof, another one.
Manuel Ugarte, Onana, Matisse Delit, Joshua Zirkzee, Mazraoui, Tyrell Malacia, and Christian Eriksen.
I feel like they got a mixture of potential, and like players who were good, who were kind of past their best, Casemiro, Eriksson, and then essentially they're just signing potential. Xerxes is a solid player. I don't think he's at that level yet, but like a solid enough player with a high ceiling,
So the
Same with the
problem
others.
is-
Delict at one point was the best
he was
teenager in the
young,
world, you
yeah.
know what I mean? So I feel like they're following the hype and not following the profile.
A ton of those players are players that at their previous club, and I'm not saying once at their point, at their previous club, were not good.
Right, agreed.
Right?
The
So,
Ligt
like,
was terrible at Bayern
Delete
Munich.
went to Bayern, he was awful, he was bad.
He was bad at Juventus too.
Oh, and I forgot he was even there.
Yeah.
And then like Casemiro was at that age where he was awesome
Right, he
for
fell
10
off a
years,
cliff
right?
though after going to United.
And then like he's 31, 32.
Ooh,
You think
but he
Madrid,
dropped off super quick.
Madrid being the organization that they are, is not selling a player like that, like by coincidence.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
that
If he,
big
was
came
the, if
in-
he was the same Casemiro that he was 5 years ago, he would never get sold.
They would never have.
Yeah,
sold.
he would never get sold.
So they're
That's a
looking
good
at that,
point.
and for 50, whatever, 60, whatever it was, and you're like, wow, this guy's 32, probably can't start most games for us.
Losing his legs.
Let him go,
All right.
right?
And he already has that hot streak. Like he's not. It doesn't seem like the most gellable
Correct.
personality to have in the squad.
So those 13 signings, I think, just
Encapsulates basically
and it
what
just
United
took
is
United
right now.
back 5-6 years. Like now, all those players, for if they're trying to get sold, are going to be half the value that they were, even less probably. And you can't play them because they're not good enough to play.
Right. I feel like United's kind of in a they're stuck in a lose-lose situation at
So
this point.
they bought Mason
which
Mount
like
for 50 million.
right, but like Mason Mount, I get the logic behind buying him because he was good at Chelsea,
Was he
And,
was-
but again, buying potential.
Correct. So now you're stuck on all those players, and now you're trying to make a signing, and you're like, wow, we got to sign him Buemo. And it's like,
Right.
not that he's a bad player, but
Right, but he's not at the level that United need.
you think about like,
United needs a striker like Ugo Ikiteke, you know what I mean? That level who can drive them forward and up a level. But nobody wants to.
so you would say 10, no, not even 10, probably 15 years ago, like Isaac would have the year that he had on Newcastle the last 2 years. He would never be on Newcastle this third year.
No way. He would have been at United already.
He would have been at United.
Yeah. Look at Van Persie.
I was gonna.
You know?
That was the
Yeah.
person I was leading to. Like United went to Arsenal and said, "Okay, we're gonna take Van Persie."
And those are rivals.
And they took him, and he won the league.
Right.
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 he was
And then
one of-
Ferguson retired.
One of the best players in the league. Right. So that would just never happen. Like a player like Isaac would never be on a team like Newcastle. Not that they're not competing for Europe, but that's a glaring issue for United, and that would never be a problem before.
Right. I mean, this is like brand new territory for United, you could say, because they're used to being the one team in England with the most pull and the
Yeah,
most,
and they're not.
and now they're barely like 7th or 8th.
So now, like, are they better than Bournemouth?
Run as a club or as a team?
I think
'Cause
both.
arguably neither.
Correct. Are they better than Arsenal?
No,
Are they better than Aston Villa?
no, definitely
Brentford?
not. Brentford, definitely not.
Brighton?
Definitely not. Brighton is probably one of the best run teams in the Prem.
Yeah, I would say even in Europe, the money that they've made and the players that they've pumped down the last 5 years are a bunch of world-class players.
Yeah. But you could see the difference right there between Brighton and United because Brighton has the money ball
Correct.
scouting, and same as Liverpool. Where United, I feel like they follow the hype and they follow like who's hot right now.
Even Cucurella was made fun of for a couple years, and he's been one of Chelsea's best players in the Club World Cup and to end the
He
season.
overtook the captain.
And he started for Spain in the
Right.
Euro.
The one that they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like even players like that, and you got Caicedo, you got
McAllister.
McAllister.
Went to Liverpool.
They have
you have
players.
Mitsuma or
Mitoma, yeah.
Mitoma, who's
Robert
still there.
Sanchez, their goalie.
Right.
They had Raya before. No, Raya was on Brentford.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of guys who are just good players all over the field.
They probably have like
They have João Pedro, who just
right,
got sold.
right.
it's
Brighton
just-
probably has like top 3 scouting departments in the Prem
So
itself.
that's 5 teams, right? Are they better than Burnley? I would say yes. Right?
Yeah, I
Burnley's
would- I
got
would say
promoted.
yeah.
Are they better than Chelsea?
Nah.
Palace?
No, I mean, at least Palace just won a trophy.
They just won, and I think Palace, attacking wise, is already better than United.
Yeah, I could see that. They're at least more solid together.
Everton?
Yeah. I don't know. They're
right?
kind of around the same.
Fulham?
Nah.
Leeds?
Yeah, I would say they're better.
So we're at 4.
Okay.
Liverpool?
No
City?
way. No way.
Newcastle?
No way.
Forest?
Currently, no.
Sunderland?
Yeah.
Tottenham?
No.
West Ham?
No.
And Wolves.
No.
So
That's like what, like 5, 6 teams?
you got 4 for sure, and you got like 3
Maybes,
maybes, right?
right.
So you're looking at another bottom half.
Finish for United.
Finish.
I think so too. I just don't like to say it because then I get called out for being a favoriting because I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm just hating.
No, but
realistically
it's the
though,
truth, dude.
I do
Like-
see them finishing 14th, maybe around there, maybe 13th.
I
Like
think
a better
it's-
finish than this year that just passed, but like not enough to make a difference.
It's going to be a very long season for them. I'll say
Yeah, I
that.
think so too.
And
How many
if-
coaches do you think they're going to have next season?
2.
I think 3.
Well, I think they'll fire Mourinho at some point,
Before December.
or he'll quit. I think
Before December, I think
Before
he's
December.
gone. And then
And
you'll
then-
have like that second coach, like the Ralph Ragnick, who came in, and he'll last until like maybe I don't know, like March, and then you have another coach to end the season.
it's tough because like, yeah, I don't like. You keep looking at this and like, if they don't beat Burnley, it's going to be tough for them to win a game.
Right. Burnley, yeah, I could see that. I could
Like,
totally
they
see
don't
that
beat
because like
Burnley?
that's besides maybe Sunderland, the weakest team out of that 12. That's
Correct.
So, oof, I don't know. I think United's in for a rough time, and like it reminds me of like when Liverpool was in their banter era like 10, 15 years ago, and we were kind of in the same position where you needed players of a certain caliber to help progress you, but like the Luis Suarez wouldn't want to come after a certain point. Like
Correct.
obviously he did go to Liverpool, but like we were signing Fabio Borini or like
Andy
Mario
Carroll.
Balotelli or Ricky Lambert. You know what I mean? And like when you're forced to sign players of that caliber, you're essentially staying stagnant. You know,
Yeah.
because it's very hard to progress forward without signing the big
You need to
movement players.
You're going to need
and-
to find some players who are Premier League ready players
right.
who end up having like a magic year and take you to the Conference League.
Right.
Right. Don't even shoot for the top 4 because that's
Just
unrealistic.
Europe,
right?
yeah,
Like,
just
I
Europe
don't-
in general.
Like just get into Europe, start attracting some kind of talent.
You need Europe to attract any kind of
to
significant
anything. Like,
talent. Yeah.
Why would I want to go from Newcastle right now,
Who's playing the Champions League?
who's in the Champions League, to go play for United?
Right. Who has no Europe
Yeah.
at all?
Why would I want to go leave Aston Villa? Like, Emi Martinez might do it, but like, why would I want to leave Aston Villa, who's been very, very well run for the last 5-6 years, who has a very good coach, who everybody knows how they want to play?
At that point, like for the Emi Martinez example, you think it's just paycheck?
I
that
think,
point-
and I think it's like he's been at that club for so long, for 5-6 years now, and he's brought them to like the Champions League. That the only thing that's missing from Emi Martinez to be, he's probably already the best goalie ever at Aston Villa, but like if he were to win just the FA Cup, let's say,
Any trophy. When's the last time you guys won a trophy?
years like
Years, right?
30 years ago,
Oof,
right?
rough.
It's been a long time. Like even
Right.
little cups, right? They made it to a
You
couple.
guys didn't
league-
win anything during like the Ashley Young era?
No,
and,
they were
like-
just always in the Europa League. That's what
Right,
they always
okay,
do.
okay. Because I remember them being like up and abouts there.
Yeah, and they were doing good cup runs, and like even now they've had some good cup runs. They made
Did
the
well in the Champions
semifinal of
League.
the Conference League. They just went to the quarterfinals of the Champions
Yeah.
League. They lost in the semifinals of the FA Cup. like it's getting a lot better than it was when they were in second division 6 years ago.
Right.
But like players like
I mean,
Martinez.
6 years is not a long time
not. It was
to
a
go from
great-
second division to
Yeah.
quarterfinals of the Champions
And
League.
like when Jared got sacked, they were in
Best thing
17th
that happened to
place.
that club.
Emery comes in and makes the Conference League the same year. Like,
Right.
Something like
Right.
that needs to happen to United.
Right. They need so would you say they need a more proven manager?
I think they
Because
need.
that's what happened to Aston Villa, right?
I think-
they went from the incumbent Steven Gerrard, who I loved as a player, but like, let's be real, he's a terrible manager.
I don't know, and I don't want to bash Amorim because I think he's going to do well elsewhere, but
Just not at United.
I think he's still some sort of inexperienced, and he's a very stubborn.
I mean, he only has the stubborn thing for sure.
and I think he was a very stubborn coach in
Stubborn thing for
Sporting,
sure. Yeah, 1,000%.
and he's been very stubborn on.
It's his way or the
United, right?
highway type of.
Like he plays a 3-back, and United's not
They've
well
never
built for
played
that,
like
and they've
ever,
never done that.
Ever. I don't think I've ever recalled United playing 3 at the back ever.
And there's people always asking like, hey, "You got to change this," and he's like, "I'm not going to change
yeah,
it." Really.
and like Amorim won't, because that's just his character. He's just gonna stick to his guns.
So if he's not, then you got to give him the people to play that way.
Right.
And
But
if
the
he doesn't
problem
do
is,
that, then you gotta figure it out.
But the problem is, like we were saying before, the people that fit that profile don't want to go to United.
Correct.
You know, like Aston Villa is a way more like appealing project right now to go play for.
Correct.
You know, it's way more stable. Because now I feel like United, for a player to go to United, you run the risk of like tarnishing like
Your career.
your legacy, your career. Look at they ruined Ronaldo. I don't want to say ruined, but like they wasted Ronaldo on his comeback. You know, like.
Even Casemiro's there now, and like everyone's bashing Casemiro.
Right,
As if
they
he's
call
gonna
him-
win,
right.
like 5 Champions League.
Right, but they treat him like he's a player who played like
everyone-
Sunday League
yeah,
soccer,
like-
you know?
And you look at him like, wow, this guy doesn't even look like he belongs. And
Right,
in Madrid,
right.
he was like, nothing would pass.
He was the
him.
linchpin in Madrid, yeah.
So it's just unbelievable what's
It's a
happening at
dark
that
place
club.
for United. I love it personally, but it is a dark place for
But
United.
then again, like, so we talk about Mourinho, but the people who put him there, right? So like, I'm
like
hiring.
the board?
I know you play 3-4-3, right? And I know the club does not have players to play 3-4-3. I'm hiring you to come in and implement your style and your way. If you want to play 3-4-3, we had to have a meeting prior to that where I'm like, hey, Jonathan, I know you play 3-4-3, go and do it.
Right.
So now Mourinho can always fall back and say the same thing, like, hey, you guys know
You were
I played.
guaranteed.
This was the way I played on Sporting.
Right.
This is
You
the
knew
way I
what you
play
were
on
buying.
Braga,
Right.
And this is the way I'm going to play here, right? Like, if you don't like the way that I play, why the hell did you hire me?
So I think this goes back to we were mentioning before that United doesn't have a plan. They just follow the hype.
I don't think so.
And I think Ruben Amorim, as good as I think he might be, was a hype appointment.
That was
you
another
know?
thing. I think so,
I
too.
definitely think it was a hype appointment because they could have found somebody who suited the culture of the club and like the profile of like who they have there a little bit better without drastically changing everything, like a 180. You know?
Do you think also, because I do, I think Amorim took that, I would say probably hype too, like knowing that like, wow, United's in a terrible spot.
You wanted to be the
guy.
savior, right?
I'm the guy,
I think that's
right?
what it was too. Because I've been saying it since he left. He left way too early. How do you leave? When he left, Sporting was the best team in Portugal
They were
by
11 for
far,
11.
miles ahead of everyone.
11
They
wins
just
out of
beat
11.
City 5-0 or 4-0. I forgot what the score was. Like, how do you? I get that you have a better paycheck and more like I guess like you could become like
The
legendary.
guy,
You be the guy.
But, like,
but
you know
you
what
could have been
that
the guy at Sporting and like
Dude, even,
cemented
like-
himself as a club legend. Because honestly, I think Sporting, if Ruben Amorim stayed, this is also me just guessing, but I think they might have went undefeated that season.
They probably could have. I mean, they were 11 wins out of 11.
Right.
Not dropped.
They suffered like 3 or 4 goals in that 11.
And then you look at like, if he just stays and wins the league, and it's like, all right, guys, I made you guys back-to-back champions. You haven't done that in 70 years. I'm leaving.
Right.
Everybody would be
and
like,
he would have left on a high.
See you later.
Right.
Thank you for everything. You did.
Right.
He leaves in the middle of the season. Sporting
It
goes
leaves
through
a
a
bad-
month without winning. Or a
Right,
month
and
a
it
half,
just leaves a
whatever
bad
the heck
taste
it
in
was.
everybody's mouth.
And if they were to lose the league last year,
Forget about it. He would have they would have been burning Amorim jerseys.
they would have been on him. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
And he ruined his image to go to United. And
Ruin
it's
it
like,
further.
You know,
Yeah.
so like, and he said like, oh, the train only passes one time to go to United.
United would have came back at the end of the year.
That's where I was.
Like,
getting
because
at.
I think at that point, Amorim had more cards in his hand than United
For sure.
did, and he folded way too early.
He had nothing to lose.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
It was going to be very hard in all honesty, I'm a Porto fan. It would be extremely difficult for Sporting to have lost the league last year with the Mourinho.
I agree.
I think they would have won the league
They wouldn't have went that month in January without
6-7
winning.
games prior to
Right.
the league ends.
The way they were playing, they're a well-oiled machine.
And it was like they were scoring 3-4 goals a game. Like they had
Yeah.
like 30 goals scored.
They were
and-
outplaying everybody.
Yeah, you know,
everybody.
It was just it was a weird way to go out. And I think if he held on, he could have got United.
You could have probably gotten a better team.
He could have got a better.
Because like what I was thinking last year, obviously I was wrong, but I thought him and Hugo Viana would have went to City
Together?
and Pep probably would have called it because he's been there for like a decade.
I thought that was a plan too.
Yeah, to me that made sense,
I thought
and
that
I
was
feel
the
like
plan.
he fits better at City. At least they have the players capable of playing his style compared to United.
But like, dude, you could have got
Could've went
and they're in a
anywhere.
terrible spot now too. But like, Juventus fires their coach.
Right,
Like,
right.
you could have gone, and that's a league where if you're gonna play 3 defenders, like
It's the perfect
everybody
league to
does
do
it, right?
it. It's
Like,
the perfect league to do it.
you could have.
He could have been the guy for Juventus
Who else fired their coach?
last year.
Yeah, well, in the end of the season,
A lot about
Real Madrid. Right,
Right, exactly. Another one,
Like, they
exactly.
were probably looking at Xabi Alonso, but you just never know.
right. His name could have been in the short
there,
list.
right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely jumped ship way too
and
soon.
now he's gonna be jobless in October
and he's gonna have to go to like a mid-level club, or maybe Porto.
and start over. Porto, unless they. So this is the thing in the Portuguese league. If one of the 3 top teams starts bad, and Mourinho gets fired in October, that's all you're gonna hear.
Yeah,
it's
agreed.
like
Agreed.
this team is gonna want Porto. They're gonna agree on terms, especially if Benfica starts a season bad. Benfica's
yeah.
elections are in October. The one way Rui Costa could save face
Bringing in Ruben.
is to bring in Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, that makes sense because especially for Rui Costa, who's kind of like on the fence with.
Dude, there's a bunch of people who don't want him there, right?
Right.
Like the way
a lot of
he's
my Benfica
negotiating.
friends do not
don't
like
want-
Rui
don't want
Costa
him.
as president,
And-
which is crazy because he was a club legend.
Yeah, but you know, like
But-
business is business.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And he's under scrutiny. If he can't fix it, then what are they gonna do?
Right. Agreed.
And if that happens and he's fired and the election, I think Benfica's elections are October 20 something. Like it's the end
He'll
of
definitely
October,
bring
right?
in Ruben. That's going to be that.
And
that
you're looking at this schedule.
right, right. The stars are lining up.
So like he gets fired, that's the first phone call they're gonna make, and I
I
can
think
guarantee
so too.
you it.
I think so too. And I could see him totally going to Benfica or any of the big 3, honestly, because I kind of think he's like a bit of a mercenary.
Yeah, but
like,
you look
he's a
at, like-
Benfiquista, but he'll
Correct,
coach
right? Like,
anybody.
you look at that, like it's so easy to call. Like, yeah, that's the club I supported since I was young. I've had success in the Portuguese league. I'll just do it, right? Like,
right.
and if he goes like if he does bad in the Portuguese league, I don't think he can. Like, I think he's very good, and Benfica is spending
very
money
good for
left
that
and right.
league, at
Yeah,
least.
exactly.
Right.
And he'll always be on one of the 3 best teams in the Portuguese.
Right. I could
Well,
agree.
you win 65% of your games just by individual
Just
talent.
even without a coach.
Correct, just
Yeah.
by individual talent. Like you just
Yeah.
better most times than
You have
other
more
teams.
money than the rest of the league.
Like
you can buy more
play
players.
Bad,
You can.
you can play bad in the majority of the games, and you'll win at the end by a cross, and your striker's just better than the other defender.
Right. Exactly.
Or it
Agreed.
doesn't happen in England. Like
Yeah.
everyone is
It's
so good.
a little bit more like equal,
Correct.
more money. You
The
know,
smaller
like,
teams are a lot better than the smaller teams in Portugal.
Right. I mean, a team like Sunderland, who just got promoted, gets more money for getting promoted than Sporting does for winning the league.
Correct.
You
I
know,
mean,
which is
You win the championship playoff, you get like 100 million.
yeah,
Sometimes
just for entering the Premier League. That's
insane
why
like that.
a lot of teams, when they fall out of the Prem, it's like they do the parachute payments to help out,
Mm-hmm.
but it's such a drop off compared that a lot of teams you end up having to sell half your team
Mm-hmm.
just to balance the books. Because imagine being a team like what was the team last year? Luton. Who had a tiny little budget,
We had to go into
and
the
then
room.
all of a sudden, right? You have to go through like
Out in apartment
through
complex?
somebody's apartment
Yeah.
to go to the stadium, and they go from that. Who their overall budget is probably like for the club to run the whole club is probably the same budget as like United's transfer budget.
Yeah.
You know, and then they go into the Prem and they get 100 mil. It's crazy. You know, like.
I mean, look what Sunderland's doing. I'll try to find it here, but Sunderland's wasted like 40 million already this year.
I mean, but you also have to because if you don't,
Correct, but I'm just
you're
saying,
gonna go
like-
right back down.
Imagine saying that about a team in the 2nd division in any European league.
Right, exactly. Good luck to Casapia trying to do that, you know, or
And
like
they
Leiria,
stayed
or
in 5th place last year, and they would never be able to do it, right?
Right.
Like, they've just, and now they're like, Sunderland working on Granit Xhaka.
little past his best, but
But you know, like that's just funny
but
signings. Like,
it's because you. This reminds me of like during the whole Super League thing, how people were all up in arms. We already have the Super League. It's the Premier League.
That's true.
You know, because the Premier League, all 20 teams in the Premier League are the top 20. Like besides maybe Madrid and PSG, but they're the most
level, right?
like wealthy clubs on the planet. You know, besides the super elites of.
Yeah.
They probably have more. Like a team like Burnley or Brentford probably has more money than Bayern.
Dude,
You know, Bayern
is-
just makes more commercially.
Sunderland's window: 17 million, 28 million, 23 million, 24 million, 31 million.
Right. It's crazy. And then a team like Sporting, 25 million is their record.
I was about to say, so Porto just bought the rest of Samu's pass, and it totaled to 32 million, and it's the biggest transfer
That's the record for Porto.
Portuguese league.
In Portugal in general, that's
32
crazy.
million, and
It's crazy.
Sunderland just
and
paid
those are
31.
that's like a cheap transfer for most Premier League teams.
And it
if
took
you get a
2
player
years
for
to pay it.
32, if you get a player for 32, that's a coup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a coup.
And it took Porto 2 years to pay it.
Right. It's crazy.
Like,
The disparity is wild. It's wild. And it just sucks because, like, there's not a clear way to, like, improve that. You know, I kind of feel like
There's nothing they can really do, right?
there's
Like,
not.
and
Unless
they-
you win the Champions League
and they need to
as a
do it.
team. Like, because every time they do well, like, Benfica made all that money when they made it to the semifinals because you make money as you progress through the tournament. Unless a team wins the league, the Champions League, like, they're.
But even winning the Europa League gives you no money.
Right, it's only the Champions League.
It's only the
yeah.
Champions League. Like-
That's where the real money
Like
is.
you make more going to the round of 16 in Champions League
than
than
you do for winning the Europa.
League.
Yeah, it's true.
And I can't even imagine the Conference League. It's
You're probably getting nothing.
like a
you know?
penny, right?
Like the Conference League is good, but like for smaller teams from like
Correct.
Bulgaria or Slovakia,
Well, so that's
who
an
never
argument
make it to the Champions League
about how Chelsea is the first club to complete every single competition.
at every level.
Yeah, but like, when would you ever see Real Madrid or Barcelona play in the Conference League?
Exactly, they wouldn't.
It's never
like
gonna
it's
happen.
both impressive and an indictment of the
Correct.
club
Like,
because you should not
Chelsea
be at that level.
Last year in the Conference League, should have won the Conference League playing with like a rotated squad.
Right,
Like they were
right. They
were
should have
that
played
much better than
that
us.
whole tournament. Should have just been their B team.
Correct.
And just let everybody else rest
Well,
for the
I
other
think
games.
for the group stage, they didn't register Cole Palmer,
Yeah, why would you?
so they just let him.
Why would you?
relax.
Cole Palmer probably end the tournament with like 25 goals. You know, like,
So like, I get it. It's impressive, but I mean,
but still, like,
what other teams are going to play in the Conference League that are elite teams? No.
right. And
United might play there.
you said elite teams.
Well, elite history.
okay, fair enough. Like stature-wise, I
Correct,
guess.
right.
Yeah.
Like-
But even then, like, I don't think it's really fair for Prem teams to even be in the Conference League.
It's tough. It should be like
Especially not top 6 or top.
I liked so Vitória de Guimarães was in it, and they were decent, and like they gave Betis a run for their money, and Betis went to the final.
Final, yeah.
Like that would be an interesting tournament. Like
Right.
Fifth in
I'd
Portugal.
rather see teams
fifth in
around that
Spain.
level instead of
Correct.
having one Chelsea
Dominant
who was
teams.
so far ahead of everybody
Like,
else that
I
it's not
didn't
even fair.
I didn't even look at the odds before the season, the tournament started.
didn't have to.
But Chelsea was probably like
100%. Yeah, you didn't have to. Like everybody looked at that draw and already knew who the winner was.
It was tough. So, but yeah, United's going
United's
back. To,
rough,
they're in some big trouble.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a rough couple of years for United unless they get like a miracle manager who comes in and just corrects everything. But I feel like their problems are more fundamentally based than that. I feel like them
They're-
as an
correct.
institution are kind of faltering and kind of
They have a ton
going
of
by the
problems.
wayside.
Upper management,
Right. I mean, they treat their club like a business, not like a soccer
and
team,
their
you know?
their squad is just nowhere near good. enough.
Overbloated, overpaid,
And
and
it's-
under-talented.
They're gonna have to find a way to get rid of everybody. If they,
But that's the thing too, because like
but nobody's gonna want to buy this.
exactly,
And there's no value.
you could get lucky and maybe like Saudi Arabia comes and
get-
takes off
ask
a
Arsenal
few,
to do it.
or Arsenal, yeah. That's great. Oh my god, I feel bad for Arsenal fans if they start buying like United rejects.
Like Højlund.
I could
they're
I could
gonna
see
miss
that
on
though.
Gyökeres and sign
I could
Højlund.
totally see that though.
But their crutch now, I guess, is like hoping the Saudi league comes, like you said, and
That's the only thing they can
splashes on
do,
somebody,
right?
like-
Because like, who's gonna pay Casemiro's wages for the player that he is currently?
I think
you know?
he had an offer to go to Saudi last year, and he declined. Like,
Yeah, why not?
I mean, like if you're just chilling in England, like,
He's probably the best, one of the best players. I don't know if in England, but definitely on United. He's definitely one of the top earners.
Oh,
run out your
100%.
contract. Why not?
yeah. I mean, and I think that's what he told them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here for 3 years or whatever. It
Yeah,
is.
why not?
and he's making a ton of money. So
And like I wouldn't blame any Chelsea players for doing the same thing.
Yeah,
if they don't
7
get no
years.
time. You got 7 years. First of all, you should never, as a soccer player, should never sign a contract for 7 years because that's just way too much control you're giving to a club. And a club like Chelsea, who's a little bit more volatile, not as volatile as United,
What do you
but still
think-
volatile.
what do you think of those like lower league, not lower league, like other European league teams going? And I thought Porto should have done it last year. When you're selling off all these players and you don't have the money to go buy players, Chelsea has 55 players.
Right, go on loan. Grab loan players,
Go ask
right.
3 of the 4 of those guys on
That's
loan.
super smart.
And then the people were like, this was the argument that was against me. It was like, you're developing players for a team that, for like someone that's not yours, and you're going to end up.
And I get that too, but then
But
you
for
have
me-
players like Mudryk, for example.
Correct.
Who's like, if you were to go to Portugal, for example,
Yeah.
he would be one of the leading players in that country.
Dude, they don't want Nkunku. And Nkunku in Germany
He's a
was
good
one of the
player
best players,
too,
right?
yeah.
So imagine you get a player like that, and you could be like, hey, Chelsea, I'll pay 50% of his salary, 40% of his salary, and Chelsea can afford that, right? You pay him $2 million or whatever it is for a loan, and you get players like that, 3-4 players.
He's
even
a
if they're
bona fide
young
starters,
players,
though.
Even if they're young players, and they're all good players, because Chelsea buys them, they're all young, they just don't do well because they don't play. But if they're playing, if you can secure a Champions League spot, you're making money that you would be selling these players
Right,
anyways, right? Like,
right.
And that's my argument back. Like,
And I agree with that because that makes sense.
so like Porto now is going back to Europa League. If they got 4 or 5 of these Chelsea players who are decent and stayed in second place, and you're sending
You
these
make
guys
all
back
that
to
money
Chelsea,
from the Champions League,
you're
though.
going to
Now you
Champions
have
League.
money to
Exactly.
reinvest.
And
right,
even
that's
like
super
just
smart.
being in the Champions
Right.
League, like you're making money just being in the Champions League.
Right.
Right. So like I don't understand how
And
these
it
teams don't look
would
at
be
that.
a win-win for Chelsea players too because they'll finally have an opportunity to play.
Correct.
You know, like Mudryk when he went to Chelsea was like the next big thing, and
played
he
a
went
couple
there and
games.
didn't do nothing.
Yeah, and then you look at like even the center backs that they have. Badia Shield doesn't play. Like they have a ton of players who are good who were signed because Chelsea just wants them. So
Another
they
one
play
just
against
follows
them.
hype.
Right?
Yeah,
And
they
it's
just
just
buy
like,
wonder kids.
go get them, play them.
Right.
And
Look at
send them
Renato
back.
Vega, who was like
Yeah.
he was a solid player. Went to Chelsea, barely played.
That was another guy I said
Barely plays.
Porto should have gone to get. He's a left-sided center back.
and he's
played left
Portuguese.
back.
They have no excuse.
Like and now Chelsea doesn't want him. Didn't even call him up to the Club World Cup. Right? Like there should
He's
be
been there
teams-
what, a year?
A year. There should be teams in the
Crazy.
Portuguese league
Just
going
6
to
more years on his contract.
Even last January, he went to Juventus on loan,
Yeah.
and he played.
Yeah.
So like, I just those things blow my mind, and I don't get it. Like,
No, I agree too. I feel like it's just ill-allocated funds and like plan, and you could tell who has a good sporting director and who doesn't.
correct.
And Chelsea does not, you know, because
Well,
Chelsea,
Chelsea-
they kind of just throw money at the wall until something sticks.
Well, and that's what I said. So like, I get it, they just won this tournament, they were excellent, but I don't see a plan in Chelsea. Like,
Me neither.
they have-
Me neither.
off the top of my head, probably 12 attacking players,
Right.
and then next year they get Kenda there. They have another one there. Like,
Another
these guys
one.
are
Waste-
never gonna play.
Kenda, so much potential already wasted his whole career just
So,
by
like,
signing for Chelsea.
Felix went to Chelsea, didn't do well on loan. Went
Then he
back
was
to
bought.
wherever he went, Atletico, and now they bought him, and now they're trying to get rid of him again.
Right. There's no plan. There's literally no plan, and it has to come down from like the owner because
I
the
think
owner is
so,
just checkbooking everything without really thinking it through.
Yeah.
And I think Chelsea, same as like maybe United, and maybe even Arsenal. There's too many yes men and not enough people to be like, no, we don't need that right now. Like Liverpool, I know I always talk about Liverpool, but like Liverpool sporting director is probably one of the best in the country because you already know he has a good eye for talent. He looks for players who fit the plan. Liverpool plays with the plan. Same thing with Aston Villa. You could tell they have an identity
And
when they
every
play,
player-
and they recruit
Correct.
to fit that identity.
And every player comes in that's part of that scheme. Like
Right,
tactic,
exactly.
You're not getting a winger who's going to dribble people one-on-one, and you don't have wingers. Like, you don't play with wingers.
Right, exactly. Whereas United, I kind of feel like they fall into that where they're just buying players that don't necessarily fit the system.
They just buy.
They just buy. Same thing with Chelsea. 'cause
Chelsea just buys.
Chelsea just buys. And granted, you could afford it. Look, do you? But
And $1 billion later, it's worked. They've won
right,
the title for some reason, right?
But I don't think. I think it sets a bad precedent for like going forward for other clubs too. Because then it's
Correct.
like I talk terribly about City all I want of them being a checkbook club, and they are. But at least they have a plan and they have an identity and they recruit with that in mind already and they build for that, you know?
The only thing I'd criticize them is that like the player doesn't play well for 3 games, like never plays again.
Right.
But
that's the thing too.
But they do buy players that are like everybody does the same thing on City. Like it's a very good carrier of the ball who's very technical and all that stuff. Like Nico Gonzalez was bought in January, fits City perfectly. But now they don't want him. Like they bought him 6 months ago for 6 million.
Gvardiol.
Yeah.
He was one of the best defenders in the Bundesliga. He was there for like a year and some change, and now they replaced him with Reinders.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So I get it. Everybody like they have a plan. They just are very different than Chelsea.
Right. I agree with that. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But it's not looking good for United. It's looking better for Chelsea. It's looking probably the best for Liverpool and Man City. And Arsenal's just Arsenal. They're kind of just
Arsenal
stagnant.
hanging around there, right?
Yeah, I don't think phase 7 Arteta. Like,
I hope.
trust the process.
I hope the clause in Victor Joker's contract for Sporting is not Arsenal winning Champions League.
Oh my God, they'll never see that
they
money.
Won't get paid
They'll
that
never
out.
see it. At this point, I just hope it goes through because I can't believe they're haggling over like 2 or 3 mil.
It's been hanging around for like a week and a half.
Yeah,
already.
and if it doesn't go through, it's going to end terribly for all parties involved. Arsenal, Sporting, and Victor
Joker,
himself.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I agree.
So we'll see what happens.
And we'll be back.
And we will be back. We're going to be taking a short break for a while because, no leagues, no nothing. But we will be back in a couple weeks with talking about the Premier League, talking about La Liga, the Champions League, the World Cup, everything. We're just yapping. We're just Yap Central over here. And thanks for coming. We were going to be here for half an hour. We ended up talking way more than we thought.
All good.
Yeah, love it. This is how it goes. We just yap. It's all natural, not pre-planned. And yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you guys pretty soon.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Happy summer.